Hey everybody, welcome to a new edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Greg Goldberg. Today is Thursday, and of course, I got to introduce you guys to comedians who have been in this game for a long time. You got Fig right there, you got Talent on the right, and these guys have been in comedy since, oh my goodness, since before Def Comedy Jam. Maybe back at the Apollo. I don't know. These guys go way back. They've been in comedy films, comedy specials, comedy TV shows, and everything pertaining to comedy that's been going on. And now they're in a comedy sports talk show. So let me just say, first and foremost, how you guys doing today? How's everything?
Oh, pretty good, Frank. But you keep pushing us so back, man. I'm starting to feel like Moses. And with talent with that little boy, he couldn't possibly be that old.
I say Moses, but
hey, yo, he came in on fire,
huh? He's trying to, that's for sure. Definitely.
Fig ain't nothing, yo. You ain't nothing.
Yeah. Let me jump in with the COVID report real fast and just say, first and foremost, that Tyree Henry is stepping down of the Montreal MLS team because he caught COVID and he's got concerned about giving it to the rest of his family members. It looked like his wife caught COVID too. So he's stepping down as professional coach in Major League Soccer. Now, I don't watch soccer, sorry to say, so I don't know how detrimental losing the coach is, but I'm sure if you lose a coach for a season, it can be definitely, harmful for your team. You know what I mean? So, Talent, what's your thoughts about that when you hear about that?
Well, I mean, I'm not an avid soccer watcher either, but I know just by being a sports watcher that, we all know the importance of a coach.
Yeah.
So just knowing that, this has got to be very detrimental to the team in the long run more than the short run. Because one thing about coaches, look at any sport. When a coach gets sick, he gets the flu, or he's out for miss a game or two, you can kind of weasel your way through the motions for a couple of games. But an entire season without a coach, we all know the detriment of that. That's no holds bar. It's gonna affect the team in a major way.
Right. I got to say, you know what I missed yesterday? I missed Talent's analogy. So I was waiting for an analogy there, Fig. So
the show is young. It's early.
I know it's coming. Fig, what's your thoughts?
My analogy is like a slice of pizza. A coach without a team without a coach is like a slice of pizza without cheese. It just ain't the same. Yo, man, at the end of the day, man, I don't know. I mean, I feel for the coach and his family, because of the whole COVID situation. Anybody that has to deal with COVID on any level for any reason, my heart goes out to them and my prayers to their family. But it's soccer, Frank. I mean, a great game at soccer is 1-2. Do you really need a coach? They ain't scoring anyway, so who cares?
I remember he said that, and I'm sure people all around the world.
It's people everywhere mad at him for saying that right now.
Yeah.
A great game is 1-2. It's true though.
Unbelievable. Let's jump into it real fast. This is something I wanted to mention, that tonight is Michigan is playing in NCAA basketball. Michigan's playing Ohio State. Everybody's not really, well, ESPN's talking about it a lot, but what nobody's really talking about is Juwan Howard is coming in. We all know him from the Fab Five. He had an NBA career and everything else. People aren't really talking about this fact. He came in as a second-year coach in the NCAA program, right, for Michigan, and turned the program around. Michigan is number 8 in the entire U.S. They're ranked number 8 nationally. Now, I don't know. I've been trying to find stats on this, but I don't know of any ex-NBA player who jumped in within 2 years and turned a pro or a college team around that fast. Now, I'm pretty impressed by this. So, Talent, I'm going to throw it to you and say, It's got to be impressive to see a guy come in as a coach who's an ex-NBA player and turn the whole program around, especially at college. At the college level is even harder, I think, than pro level. What's your thoughts, Talent?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What's crazy is I watched the game Sunday and watched him coach the game, and, he's definitely doing his thing. He's going there, turning around, ex-NBA star. I mean, remember the Fab Five. Everybody remembers Juwan Howard. I tell you one thing, though, at these games, they're not going in the locker room stealing his stuff. He's no Deion Sanders.
Yeah,
they dapping him up. Good job, coach. Here's your coat. Nobody want this shit. So other than that, no, I watched him, and he's very impressive. Very impressive. He was one of those guys, even to this day, when he's on the side with his mask on and he's barking orders and plays out loud. He was one of those players whose voice never matched him. Like if you looked at him, once he starts talking, you would never assume his voice like that. Him and Derek Harper, they're those two type of NBA players. But kudos to Juwan Howard. He's doing a great job.
Right. Well, I'll say this, Talent. I don't think nobody was stealing his stuff because none of those kids even know who he is. You know what I mean? Like, there's a big difference. There's a big difference. You know what I mean?
Man,
that's true.
You better stop that, Frank, man. Listen, I mean, maybe kids of our generation, wouldn't have known something like that, man. But these kids got Google and all that stuff. They better know who the hell their coach is. And here's the thing about college that a lot of people don't factor in is that your coaching job really begins during recruiting. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's where it really begins, because at the end of the day, a college team is really only good as the players that, say they're going to go to that particular team. Juwan Howard was he was a really good player in college and at the pro level. And with that kind of cachet, I'm sure that his recruiting is good. And the fact that he came in and did his thing on that level and took that team to the next level is like Talent said, kudos to Juwan Howard. I know somebody who hasn't done it. Patrick Ewing hasn't been able to do it. So
hey.
That's my dude too. Listen, I love the captain, man. I love the captain, but
that's why I brought it up.
Doing that good.
But see, you see how Fig brought that up, Talent? Because that's why I brought it up, because it's not easy to do. People assume that, oh yeah, you could do this and everything. You could talk. First of all, like Fig said, you got to start in recruitment. And then once you get to recruitment, then you get these kids on the team and they got to get them all play together. And then they shuffle out all the time. You know what I mean? You got freshmen coming and you got seniors leaving. So I think it's difficult to do. And
it is. I think that Patrick Ewing's problem in recruiting is probably because, he go in there with that Jamaican patois. Yo, you want to come to Georgetown? You want party?
Yeah. Listen. We got a lot of West Indians listening to this show. Listen, from somebody who coached before, right? You can get. Here's the thing. It's about what the organization wants too. A lot of these organizations make more money losing than winning. I learned that at the high school level. I coached JV girls in Sleepy Hollow, which is Westchester, New York, Westchester County. And I remember going in there with all this basketball knowledge. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And like 2-3 games in, the athletic director pulled me into a meeting, told me to stop. Like, I was like, no. He says, no. It ain't about winning. We just want these girls to have a good time. And I couldn't understand that. I was like, I mean, just playing, we're going to naturally have a good time. But shouldn't these girls learn how to be competitive and try to win? Life is competitive. So sports emulate life and vice versa. And some of these organizations do not want to win. So I know a lot of college level, that they're just there to go through the motions, collect the checks, grants, or what have you.
Yeah, but when you start getting to that level of where Michigan's at and everything else, I'm gonna say this: that it's about the money, and the more you win, the more money you make. Look at Gonzaga. Gonzaga is the #1 team in the country. 10 years ago, you could have asked 50 people on the street who Gonzaga was, and nobody would even knew who they was. You know what I mean? I think it has a lot to do about winning. Because
obviously these high profile D1 schools, different. They make money winning, but you have a lot of teams like we had Tony Roberts on the other day. Perfect example is football. Detroit for a long time made more money losing for whatever reason, because of something with the factories and all that stuff. So the Ford family, that's why they never, if you pay attention, they never really went out of their way to build around like Barry Sanders, because the winning would disrupt what they were doing, their overall money scam, and how they was doing it, the Ford family. So some of these organizations, I mean, I'm not talking about Michigan, because certain names are synonymous with winning and high profile. Michigan.
Right. But
North Carolina.
Talent, my point is that Gonzaga was nobody, and once they started winning and they got to the tournament, they started winning more money. Not to say that you're not right, because I'm sure that our program's doing that, but they got put on the map when they had that huge win in the tournament, and then I think they got to the Final Four. And next thing you know, they exploded. They were able to recruit better. They got more team. Now they're the number one team in the country. I mean, today, right now, as we speak, Gonzaga is the number one team in the country over Duke, over North Carolina. I mean, just go down the list. UNC, yeah, and that's a huge feat. I think.
But remember, it's false advertising. When the Gonzaga came on the scene, they blew up the white kid Morrison. Remember Morrison?
Yeah.
Came to the league, and guess what? Doodle squat.
Yeah.
And then they disappeared again, and now they're resurgent. That's the Gonzaga story. Let's be real.
No, I'm not.
Did Mateen Cleaves go to Gonzaga? Was that Mateen Cleaves?
Mateen Cleaves was on Michigan.
He was on Michigan? Okay.
Yeah.
Man, look, Gonzaga did their thing, man. You know, they came in, they blew it out the water. I didn't know that thing that Talent was saying that some organizations make more money losing than winning, man. I'm just like, to me, it just like, it doesn't make sense to me because I don't understand how kids playing basketball, male or female, how losing would be fun. You know what I mean? Talent said, I'm like, if you losing, that ain't no fun. What kind of fun is losing? That would mess me up, man.
Hold on. He didn't say the students knew about this. He just said the organizations. That's the key thing. He didn't say the students know, because that's a big deal. You know, obviously, I think if the students know that the program is comfortable with losing, they're not going to want to go play for them. I think that'll change everything, but that's not what he was saying. Let's continue on with the conversation, man. I want to talk about something huge with the Utah situation, but first let me talk about Paul George, because he got interviewed last night or the day before. He said an interesting remark, and of course it got, I don't see nobody, talking about it anywhere. I watched sports all last night this morning. I didn't see one person mention it. This is what he said. He said, in the NBA, they want us to play in the All-Star game, right? But and in order to play the All-Star game, we all got to be together, and we're going to be in close contact with one another for a long period of time. But the issue I have is that they want to fine us right now as teams if we get together right now. So they're forcing us to be in the NBA All-Star game. I'm like, he's making a great point there, because at the end of the day, they're forcing all the All-Stars to be together and to be, around each other for a whole long period of time, but they can't do the exact same thing in the regular season with their regular teammates. And he literally said they will be fined and can miss games for the same things that the NBA is putting them in the situation with right now at the All-Star game. Of course, I didn't see that anywhere, but his quote is up there right now. You can see it everywhere. So, Talent, when you hear that, man, what's your thought process?
Well, I think that it makes sense. That's everything in life, man. It's like, in this instance, you're not allowed, and then when we're doing this, you can do it. It's no different than, and if it was a comedy competition, the judges probably wouldn't want me and Fig in cahoots and hanging out, whatever. But when the competition's over and they put a tour together and they book me and Fig, we're together all the time. So it's like, for the all-star sake of things, I get it. And you got to understand something. In a normal case, I don't want you guys together because a lot of this stuff is against the rules. But in a COVID situation, if we're going to pick 20 or some odd players to participate in All-Star Weekend, I got to close you guys together. Mm-hmm. I don't have a choice if I'm trying to cut down on COVID.
Yeah, I mean, but like he said, it's a little bit contradictory. I can't,
but it has to be. It has to be. Like, Frank, what it is? Okay, here's your analogy. You got kids, right? We always get on our kids, this millennial kid time. We hate that these kids won't go outside and play. Yeah. Get out of this house, go out and play. Put that game down, go outside and play. Boom, COVID hit, get your ass in the house before you die. Yeah. Now, it's a contradiction of how I've been raising this kid all these years. But because of COVID, I don't have an option or a choice. I have to now do the total opposite of what I've been beating in this kid's head for years. You lazy son of a gun, get off that game, get your ass. When I was little, we was out in the park. My mother had to come get us when it got dark. We couldn't wait to get outside. Your ass in here with this popcorn and this NBA 2K and this Madden. And now guess what? COVID, change the rules, vice versa. So your kid can rebel on you and go, Mommy, Daddy, make up your goddamn mind.
Great points. Fig, what's your thoughts?
He's absolutely right, man. I don't know what to say about that, man, because He's right, man. When we was kids, we wanted to be outside. I don't give a damn what it was doing. Rain, hail, sleet, snow. We wanted to be outside in all of it. Now, it's a different story, man. I think what the deal is, though, is that these teams play each other all the time. Like, you know, two teams get together and they got to play the actual game. I think what they're saying is they really didn't want them to socialize after the game with a chance, you know, because that increases the chance of spreading COVID. But when you come to work, you're in a group. It's like when somebody goes to work, whether you're in a grocery store, a hospital, fire department, police department, whatever, you're with people because that's the way you have to do your job. But once the job is over and you clock out, now we want you to social distance, you understand, to alleviate the fact that you could have potentially passed on COVID. And I think it's the same thing with the NBA players. You're coming together for one day now. The All-Star game is one day. It's not an entire weekend. It's not a week. It's not a whole bunch. You come together for one day. You play one game, a couple hours. Then you take your behind back home. It's work. So once the job is over, then you go back to doing what it is that you normally do to keep yourself and your family safe. It's work.
All right, let me just throw this out there before I forget and say Devin Booker got added to the All-Star game. Yesterday, Talent, you missed this. We had a conversation about why he's not in the All-Star game. He got in the All-Star game announced last night because Anthony Davis got out. So they used him as an alternate. They added him. So now he's in the game. So I'm happy to say about that. But the next thing I want to talk about is in Utah, right? Everybody's happy in Utah about what's going on outside in Utah, right? But internally, Utah Jazz organization is having a huge situation right now that they're praying does not become the Sports Center top line. Here's the reason why. Elijah Millsap, on his exit interview from when he was leaving the Utah Jazz back in 2015, he said the Utah Jazz vice president, Dennis Lindsey, said to him, if you say one more word out your black ass, and send you back to Louisiana. Now, he's claiming that he had said that bigotry remark and apply in a course of a couple of other bigotry remarks. And right now, Elijah Millsap is saying that he might move forward with charges and everything else against him, but he just wants the world to know that that's what happened. He literally thinks the Utah Jazz vice president, Dennis Lindsey, is a huge bigot. He came forward and said that. I don't know if it was the last 24 hours, last 12 hours, but he came forward and said that. Now, mind you, Utah Jazz last night, they had a huge win against the Lakers, so they dealing with that. But this is right now coming forth, and it might be a huge story if more people outlets pick it up. So, Talent, when you hear that, somebody said that, and of course the Utah Jazz vice president is denying it. What's your thought process on that, bro?
Let me tell you something. That's going to take some steam, I think. I think that's going to take us some steam because 5 years ago, this could have been brushed away and quietly disappear. But the climate today, and here's the sad thing, man, is like there's recordings of everything.
Right.
So half of this thing, if you look at these things, how they unfold, they like many little setups. Like people accuse you first because they know that they already know they got the tape. So they accuse you without the tape. So you can jump all the way out the window, go, I've never in my life said anything. And then they go, press play. And they go, take your black ass back to Louisiana. Everybody go. And then the black dude who made the first accusation, he say some more racist shit because he black and he can get away with it. You go, see what I'm saying, my nigga? Everybody they hear that part. Yo, my nigga, see what I'm saying? Everybody say, yeah, I feel you, my nigga.
Yeah, that's
right. But that's some real stuff. It's like a setup. The first part is the accusation. Look at how all these things been doing. You know, they let you hang yourself. Like the window's a little open. They let you go all the way out the window and then play the tape. And then people go, whoa. After you just came out, now your word is nothing. You told a bold-faced lie. We came to you. We addressed it like civil people and say, hey, did you say this, bro? And you said, I would never. And then somebody pressed play out of nowhere, the speakers in the room. You take your black ass back to Louisiana. You sitting there going,
Bro, you gave us two analogies in one answer, which is dope. I like that.
It's true. It's true.
Oh,
It's
he's
a
right,
true
man.
analogy. It's a true analogy, so I like that.
Right.
Hey, go ahead.
The thing is that when you think about who Millsap is, this guy is a consummate professional. You've never heard anything, any negative press or anything come out about Paul Millsap. He's a veteran, been in the NBA for a number of years. This just don't, it just doesn't sit well with me that he would make something like this up. You could deny it until the end, but at the end of the day, you got to look at this dude's character and figure that he knows the climate of the country that we're in and what's actually going on. Why would he make something like that up? Number one. And then when you think about what the president said, yo, man, I get it. You know, some guys, some people, unfortunately, do not recognize the climate that we're in and recognize that those kind of, like you cannot say those kind of things anymore. This brings me, like what Talon said, this brings me to my memory of when they did the OJ trial with Mark Furman. They asked Mark Furman, have you ever used the N-word? Have you ever said ninja?
Right.
And Mark Furman was like, I've never used the word ninja. And then, like Talon said, they caught him on tape and he was like, this ninja here. You know,
it's a setup.
we got him.
You know what? Because you know the part that really rings to my mind. This is the first thing that jumps to my mind. And other news not related to sports, you got that black dude who played in Justice League. He played Cyborg. He's the first person who came out and he said, yo, Josh Whedon, who's the big dude behind the scenes, and Warner Brothers, they treated me like trash and have been, and they were bullied on the state and everything. And everybody was like, oh, no, that's not true. He couldn't have did that. And then stars in the next 3 or 4 weeks, started coming out and saying the same thing, especially when the big star of Buffy, I forgot her name, but she came out and said, you know what? He's not lying because he did do that on set, and I saw it, and I'm going to stick with him. Now, mind you, in between the 3 weeks, the dude got fired. He didn't get, he lost his job on the Flash movie. He had 2 other things that was, pending and getting ready to come up. And he lost all those things. Now you look at today, and now people sit there and say, okay, well, we want to employ you. I think this could be the beginning of that too, because nobody heard anything from this vice president of the Utah Jazz say anything. And if Millsap was the bravest one and the first person to come out and step forward with this, and this happened in 2015, we could see other NBA players come forward and agree and say the exact same thing. That's my thought process. Because
that's what I'm saying, and not just Utah.
Yeah, exactly, and not just Utah. Like it'll come be where you hear more players come forward and say that
because you know it exists.
Yeah, exactly.
You know it exists. Yeah,
but it takes one player to come forward, and then it's going to start the ball rolling because of the time we live in. And here's another killer thing that everybody's that I don't want to overlook either. He said this back in 2015. It's 2021 now. So Millsap brought this out now. When that happened way back in 2015, if he had came out and said it, we probably would have been like, yes.
But this is what they should do, and I hope they're watching the show. Any professional, when you get to that year, you know in your mind, this is my last year. I'm going to retire this year. Start snitching. On your exit year, start snitching. Because as soon as the season starts, man, they racist as a mug up in here. Ooh. The owner told me, take my black ass back to Tennessee. Get out of here. He said, because now they can't hold nothing over your head.
Right.
You was leaving anyway. You're in your final year. You're retiring, whatever, or resigning, stepping down, whatever. Use your power while you have it to do what you got to do. I understand why people keep quiet. We all understand it. This goes from everything to family matters to hashtag Me Too to the racial climate it is today. And people, for the most part, don't want to put their situation in jeopardy. And I get that. Who don't? Because you could be the whistleblower, but who want to be a broke whistleblower?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. And
when
then years ago, the Los Angeles Clippers had an owner who said some really disparaging remarks. And for that 1 week time, it was hot topic in LA, and then it blew over. You know what I mean?
They had to get rid of him. And man, let me tell you something. It doesn't surprise me when you say something like that happened in Utah for the simple fact that Utah kept the name. You know what I mean? They call the Utah Jazz. Ain't no Jazz in Utah.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. That must be the day today.
Oh God! I almost choked. A tear came out. Ain't no Jazz in Utah. Somewhere in Utah right now, it's a jazz quartet warming up. Like, man, he don't know us. Boom, 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 boom. Screw him. Boom, 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 boom. Ain't no Jazz in Utah.
You know what they call it? You know what they call jazz in Utah? That Dixie, where the dude got the ukulele and everything. That ain't jazz. That's Dixie.
Yo, the Mormons are in Utah. Ain't no jazz. I used to Mormon that shit. Hey man, you know what jazz is? Yeah, Elvis Presley and them, right?
He's like, Mormon. They ain't got no jazz. They don't even have electricity. How could they have jazz?
Jazz in Utah.
Since we still talk about Utah, right? Let's talk about how the game was last night, because that's the topic that everybody's talking about.
Man.
Everybody's talking about how the Utah Jazz not just beat the Lakers, they spanked the Lakers. So I'm gonna throw this to you, Talon. I'm gonna ask you first. I'm gonna say, is the Utah Jazz for real? Should we be paying attention to them? Because I asked this question a couple of weeks ago, and then you said, if I can remember correctly, you said no. Let's play a little bit longer and see how it is. Now the Lakers, yes, the Lakers are out without Dennis Schroeder. They're out without Anthony Davis, but they not just beat the Lakers last night. They literally spanked them, and they have the best winning percentage they've ever had, the best defensive percentage, the best 3-point percentage, better than they had when Karl Malone and those dudes was playing. And the year that they got when Karl Malone's guys was playing, and they were at the best at that time, they went to the NBA Finals and lost to the obviously to Jordan and the Bulls. So let me ask you this, man. Talent is as the Jazz for real, and should we pay attention to them making it to the final? Because usually when teams get this percentage this high, they do.
Well, they got my attention. And this is what I was saying before when I said let's wait a little longer, because a lot of teams were jumping out the gate. And half of those teams, nobody's talking about or even scared to go and play them. People are worried about playing Utah now. And when you beat these top contenders, i.e. the Lakers and all these teams that we're supposedly, like we did last season, we already got them in the finals. They didn't do it yet, but in our minds, we got them in the final. We did that with the Clippers last year, and almost every sports person imaginable took a smack on the cheek for being wrong. So the games that they're playing now, at the percentage they're playing, Frank, they got my attention. I think they're real now.
Okay. Fig, what you think?
Definitely, man. Last year they were a game away from going to the Western Conference Finals. You know what I mean? They was one game away. They went to a game 7 and they lost a game 7. But that kid Spider is for real. They got the big time center. They got Conley, which is he was just getting acclimated to the team last year. Barring any kind of injury, Utah is gonna be a problem, man. And to tell you the truth, man, the big writing on the wall are the Lakers who we thought they were, man, because without AD, I mean, you miss one player, and I know of Anthony Davis caliber, I know it does something to your team. But these guys lost like 5, maybe 6 games, or since they like 1-5 or maybe 1-6.
And in the last 10 games, they're 5. And in the last 10 games, they're 5-5. They lost 4 straight, so they're having some issues. So
no, since Anthony Davis has been out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Since Anthony Davis went out, they lost 4 straight. They're right now, their last 10 games, they're 5-5. Anthony Davis, they won a couple of games without Anthony Davis, so they thought they were riding the high. But the next thing you know, they lost 4 straight, including they lost to Utah. They ended up losing to Oklahoma. Like they've lost a lot, 4 straight games. So the problem.
They lost to Washington.
Yeah, that's the thing when I think the alarm went off, in the Lakersville. So my question now is we all know the Lakers are they're trouble prone. I guess the question is, Talon, do you think the Lakers can come back? Can they make a storm once Anthony Davis come back? Because this is the key moment that I want to say. Morris said last night, listen, playoffs are a different story. Let's see how Utah does in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, when I hear people say that, this is the remark that jumps in my mind. A couple of years ago, the Celtics had Kyrie Irving. He kept saying, we're going to turn it on in the playoffs. We're going to turn it on in the playoffs. The playoffs came in. They won in the first round. And he said, see, we turned it around. We turned it on. Milwaukee, they won that first game. They lost the next 4. They were out the playoff. Now, my thing is, if you're playing in the NBA, you can't wait to turn it on. You better turn it on now because you might not be able to turn that key in the engine and actually turn the ignition on because it might not start. That's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean?
No, you're thinking right. You're thinking right. And Frank, we did, again, I go back to last year. We did the same thing last year watching the minute management of the Clippers. Oh, don't worry. Yeah, they're doing this. They're managing minutes. They're going in the playoffs, though. We kept saying it. Got their ass handed to them in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Even the series they won to get to the series they lost, they wasn't blowing nobody out.
Right.
They were struggling. They were chipping away. And to be the team that we thought they were not supposed to be chipping away. But they were caught in the chip away position, and everybody started, in the next series, they're going to do this in the next series. And they kept getting less and less points over the team that it was beaten. They beat them by 8, and it was 7, and it was 6, and it was 3, then it was at the buzzer. And then you came across this team that wiped your ass out, and they kept going to the conference. And this is what can happen to the Lakers. As you're exactly right. You talking about we're going to cut it on. That car don't start. Yeah. That's one thing about that game. When you hit that hard floor, man, like you can have a great night, you can have an off night, you can have an okay night. But depending on who you matching up against, they might have a great night.
They might. But then again, they might not. Fig, what's your thoughts?
Here's the thing. Somebody said, let's wait till they get their full team. All right. I like that, but here's the thing. Even with the Lakers' full team, they wasn't that far ahead of their contenders. They wasn't that far ahead of the Clippers, Utah, and maybe another team in the Western Conference. So the Lakers are not that far ahead. They don't have a gap as far as talent is concerned, as far as the teams that are in their conference. So even at full strength, they're gonna have to fight to get to the finals again. It's not gonna be a walk. It's not gonna be a cakewalk. They're not gonna sweep nobody. I don't see them sweeping anybody. I think they're gonna be in a dogfight in every series because here's the thing. While the Lakers were getting better and they were changing up, these other teams were getting better too. They added a piece or two here or there. Their bench got better. So I think they're going to be in a dogfight. I think AD, honestly, in order to get him back to full strength, I think he's going to need a good 2 months off. What are the Lakers going to look like in 2 months? You know, what kind of record will they have? Will they still be in the top 8 in 2 months? Or will this slide continue? Because they're getting beat by teams that are not even playoff bound. That's the problem. You're not even beating the teams that you're supposed to beat, even with AD on the sideline.
Yeah, you know what everybody else is overlooking? This is what I'm gonna throw a real monkey wrench in a lot of teams' issues. Everybody's overlooking one big fact too. The fact being that the NBA has not released the entire second half of the schedule, and they're going to be lots of teams is going to be playing back to back to back. So after the back to backs, how are you going to handle after all those back to backs then leading up into the playoffs? Because that's going to affect a lot of people too. You know what I mean? From injuries to people being so used to having time off to listen. There are only 5 NBA teams right now that have only played 30 games. You know what I mean? And that's literally ridiculous because the All-Star game is right now. You know what I mean? And so the NBA is getting ready to force on the second half of the season. Okay, well, we missed these games right here. Let's cram in a couple of those nights because they're not going to care about.
Ain't the All-Star game like next week? Isn't it like the 7th or something like that?
Yeah, it's the 7th. So I'm saying it's right here. So they're getting ready to cram. The season's getting ready to stop right now for the All-Star break. And then after that, the NBA has to cram in another 40 games for a lot of teams because there's only 5 teams that played, literally only 5 teams that played 30 games. So the teams that we think might be doing so well might not because they got to be playing so back to back. I mean, that's just my thought process. Let me continue on the conversation, and let me throw this one out there to you guys. I heard this morning that Kyle Lowry is having some issues up in Toronto because now he wants out. And he said he wants out and to be traded to the 76ers because he's not happy with the way the coaching's going on. He's not happy what's going on to everybody, in the whole Toronto's organization. He's not happy the direction it's going. And he wants to be part of a winning team and continue to win and contend again. So I'm going to ask you, Talent, what's your thought process on going forward with that? What do you think?
I'm surprised it took this long. I'll be honest with you. I expected him to bail as soon as Kawhi bailed and the team started to chip away and break up. So that the fact that it's just now coming out, he's not happy and will go to a winning team. It's no surprise to me, Frank. I'm surprised about how long it took. That's about it. 76ers, that would be a good look for him. I mean, but I don't understand how, again, when you talked about this last few shows of this new NBA strategy of everybody's going to play with a bunch of other stars, this will be the doom eventually of this league if it's continue to be allowed.
Yeah,
it's going to tear the league up. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but let's be honest, Talent. I'm gonna throw this out there to you. Let's be honest. He saw James Harden do it. You know what I mean? And what's your thought process? If he saw James Harden do it, then maybe he thinks he could do it too, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I get why you try to do it, but is nobody looking at the bigger picture? Like, are we so Americanized that it's all about us and only about us at all times? If we keep doing that, the industry in which we work, I don't care if it's basketball, comedy, construction, anything. If you're doing everything for one individual reason and for self, you will implode your industry.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with that one. Fig, what's your thoughts?
I have a question. Who the hell is Kyle Lowry? Who is he? Let me tell you something. Kyle Lowry's biggest talent is drawing charges. The star of that team is Van Vliet.
Hilarious.
Let me tell you what happened to Kyle Lowry. Let me tell you something. They won't let him play up in Toronto, so they put him down there in Florida, and he got a taste of some of that Florida weather and stuff like that. He was like, I'm not going back to Canada. He said, I'm American, and I'm not going back to Canada. He wants to stay right here in America and pay high taxes. That's what he wants to do. Kyle Lowry ain't slick. He's down there in Florida soaking up the sun, probably taking little incognito trips to Magic City and stuff like that. I know, what's going on here. You ain't fooling nobody, Kyle. But you don't do something else, something to take charges.
Big, I'm gonna tell you this right now, and you and Talent. If Kyle Lowry goes to the Sixers, they're going to the finals, bro. I don't think there's anybody gonna dispute that. I think they're going to the finals. Well,
Philly, but he's a Philly guy, so I understand why he wants to go to.
Yeah, but I also forgot about New Jersey. So at least they'll make at least the Eastern Conference Finals. Let me say that. They'll make the Eastern Conference Finals. But beginning in, listen, in the NBA, you never know, man, because I'm just still surprised the New Jersey Nets are winning like the way they winning, man, and they're not playing no defense. So I'm surprised about that.
Hey, man, let me tell you something. A cheesesteak is a nice trade-off if he ends up in Philly. You know, they got some nice cheesesteaks down there. You can go down to Philly.
You know that's home for him, though. So there's nothing new. There's nothing new for him. He's going home, which makes sense, again, because he is, 2-3 seasons left, maybe? He's towards the end of his career. He's on the other side.
He's definitely in the middle of his career. I don't know if he's towards the end yet.
No, I think 3 seasons, Frank. You're not gonna. You think Kyle Lowry gonna give you more than 3 more seasons after this one?
I think he can give you 5. But hey, I think it depends on how many flops, because he is taking a lot of injuries with the flops.
He's a chubby point guard.
That's true.
That don't last that long.
This is what I'm not going to do. I am not going to dispute you with this right now, because
a chubby point guard.
No, I'm saying I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to even dispute it, because he is a chubby point guard, and I've seen a lot of them fail. Very few of them made it. A lot of them fail. Now, yesterday, Talent, this is what you missed. Yesterday, I started asking some questions, right? Because I want to do a segment where we start asking questions, checking sports knowledge, so we can build up this segment real fast. So I'm gonna test you're supposed to be an NBA dude too. So I'm gonna test your. I'm gonna start out with some easy questions. Well, easy question for each one of you. So I'm gonna start out with you, Talent. And this to me is an easy question, but to you, hey, we'll see. First question for you, Talent, is, and only question for you is, which team drafted Kobe Bryant?
Kobe Bryant was drafted by the Sixers.
Nope.
No?
Nope. He's drafted by the.
Was it like Charlotte or something like
the
that?
Charlotte Hornets. Kobe Bryant was drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, and then it ultimately traded to the Lakers for. Wow, y'all forgot this? The big dude, the center the Celtics, the center the Lakers had. This from Yugoslavia.
Who they had? Kwame?
No, the center from.
What's my man name?
It wasn't Vlade.
No, I know who you're talking about.
Vlade
Divac.
Yeah, Divac. Yeah, he was traded for Vlade Divac. That's what. And everybody in the Lakers, you all remember this? Everybody in the Lakers was upset because they were like, "Who's this 18-year-old kid? We traded for our big man." That was a big deal.
I forgot all about that. You're right.
At the time, everybody was upset about that. Okay,
they ain't upset now.
Yeah, they sure ain't. All right,
5 championships later.
But hold on, you think you know some? What is Vlade Divac's middle name, Frank? Exactly.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Stefan. I'm just.
What?
Are you ready? Ready for your question, Fink?
Yeah.
Michael Jordan. We all know he was number 3 in the draft, right?
Yeah.
Who was number 1?
Come on, Fig.
I know, Fig. Come on.
Was it Brad Bird or something like that?
Fig, come on, Fig. Fig. Are you kidding me?
I forgot.
Tell him, talent.
Patrick.
No.
No.
What number Pat go to?
Hakeem Olajuwon.
One, but he was there before Jordan got there.
Hakeem
okay.
Olajuwon.
He was a different year.
Hakeem Olajuwon. Who was number 2?
Sam Bowie.
That's Sam. That's what I was going to say, too. I was going to mess up anyway. I was going to say Sam.
Hakeem Olajuwon. Hey, listen. Let me tell you something. Number 1 and number 3 was great.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have took number 3 at number 3, knowing what you know now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Lord.
Listen, stranger things have happened, man.
Hakeem Olajuwon was not a bad number 1 pick because his career was just stellar.
Right.
You know, something I talked about. I was talking to my wife yesterday. I think people don't realize that throughout Hakeem Olajuwon's entire career, every year about this time, he celebrated Ramadan, which means he had to go an entire day without eating. And I think Ramadan lasts for about 50 days. So right about the All-Star games, going into the playoffs and stuff like that.
Playing through that.
He had to play on actually no food. He was eating 1 meal a day.
I like Ramadan. I mean, I'm staying in a Ramada now. So when I get a room, any chance I get to stay in a Ramada, I don't eat that much either when I'm staying there.
And it reminds you of Ramadan when you stay at the Ramada?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the Ramadan Inn.
You
in a top ramen inn. That's ramen noodles in.
Let me switch the conversation. Let me keep this thing moving on. I want to switch to the NFL and see if I get to the NFL question because I don't know if I even have time for that. But J.J. Watt now has offers, right? And the thing I'm going to ask you both to see where you at. He has offers from multiple teams. He got the Browns, the Bills, the Titans, the Steelers, and the Raiders. All 5 of them are offering him $15 to $16 million a year. Again, it's the Browns, the Bills, the Titans, the Steelers, or the Raiders. If you are J.J. Watt, talent, and I'm going to throw it out to you first. If you're J.J. Watt, do you go to the Browns? Because you know how good the Browns did last year. You know how good the Bills did last year. You know how good the Titans did 2 years ago. And you know also what the Steelers with his brothers, you know what I mean? Or you go to a descending team like the Raiders. Well, the Raiders not descending. They're iffy. They can go one way or the other. So
if he was black, I would say the Steelers. Because, black people like to cook out. His brothers are over there, those big cookouts. Yeah. You know what I mean? But white people don't cook out like that. They barbecue. So I think the best place for him to go, if he's trying to, the whole point of him leaving is to try to win.
Right.
The first 3 teams are the top teams to pick. And in that order, kind of, I probably will put the Bills in front of the Browns. The best place to go is the Bills. Then there's the Browns and Titans.
Okay, so you would say the Bills, then the Browns, and the Titans. So
yeah.
Frank, I'm gonna throw it to you. If you're J.J. Watt and you're getting $15 you're getting offered $15 million a year right now for the Browns, the Bills, the Titans, the Steelers, or the Raiders. Who would you take?
You know, the thing is that I would go with, like Talon said, the Browns. No, the Bills, the Browns. I don't know about the Raiders. Maybe the Browns and the Bills is like my top two. The Bills and the Browns is my top two. But here's the thing. You know, he's at the end of his career. Maybe he does want to play with his brother in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? How many opportunities do you get to play with a sibling on a professional level? I know the Morris brothers had the chance to do it in the NBA. You know, we got the Ball brothers that might eventually get an opportunity to play together. When you get them balls together, I think they're a good candidate. So I think maybe JJ might want to go play with his brother in Pittsburgh because they didn't have a bad team last year.
Yeah, and the Gronkowski brothers, they all played together for one hot second in New England, so they had a good time too. So
right.
When you have brothers play together, I mean, it's something you could all, take pictures that could last for a long, long time. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's that rare. You guys making it sound rare. I'm sure there's a lot of brothers playing together. They just got different fathers, so you don't know by the name. Like it's not Johnson and Johnson. It's like it's Klieg and Green and Jamal and them. You know what I mean? Like y'all looking at it traditionally, Morris brothers, the Watt brothers. What about them brothers? There's a lot of brothers in the league. They got different fathers or mothers.
That's funny. You know who else would be the good brothers? The Currys. If the Currys got together, ooh, that'd be a spicy team because both of them Currys could
I knew he was good.
I gotta deal with this every day, y'all. Every day I gotta deal with this. I
knew he was going. I said, if he don't hit that joint, the spicy team.
The Curry brothers. I got to.
That's good.
Hold on, I'm gonna do it, but
that was so good. I knew where he was going, but I didn't know the line. The line was beautiful. He's like, that'd be a spicy tea. What the hell is a spicy tea?
Hey, did my look on my face go like this? Did my look on my face go?
Frank looked at you like, man. Oh God, that was good. All right,
so this morning, everybody was talking about Dak Prescott. I'm tired of talking about Dak Prescott, but you know what? Somebody made an interesting remark this morning. Somebody said, I forgot which commentator it was, and said, you know what? As the latest date it is right now, and Dak is still not signed, and Dak wants 40. You know what I mean? Dallas doesn't want to pay more than 32. He said, literally, forgot who it was. He literally said, you know what? Do not be surprised if Dak Prescott gets caught in a sign and trade. Now, one of you all said that the other day. I don't know which one of you said it, but one of you all said, hey, don't be surprised if Dak Prescott gets caught up in a sign and trade, because if Dallas got to get something for him, and the way it's going right now, he could literally sign, the tender right now, get tagged and be out next year, and Dallas not getting nothing. You know what I mean? So,
right.
So
I said that on the tail end of your Pelican brief. You said that Pelican brief a while ago, and I never forgot it. I said, you know what? I can see that the whole talking about the whole thing with Aaron Rodgers, ending up on Dallas somehow. And I was like, that's not far-fetched, because to me, when you take a long time to pay somebody, whether you know what you're doing or not, you're sending a heavy message. That goes with any job. If somebody's due a raise or a contract or a re-up or whatever, and the powers that be take their time with it, to me, that says a lot. For somebody that's done radio, you usually renegotiate your next contract before that last year even get there. If you got a contract, 4 years in, somebody got you in the office or got the lawyers in the office or the management or the agents restructuring the next 4 or 5 years. They don't wait till Friday. The deadline's Friday. We don't know. We're gonna see. Usually that means you out the door.
Yeah, I think no matter what situation you out the door if they wait to the last minute. They already checking what the alternative is. Fig, what you think?
Here's the thing is that they, like this year, I think under the franchise tag, it would be a pretty hard hit for Dallas at 37.7. But here's, and it's kind of funny. It's kind of shocks me because Jerry Jones is known as the master negotiator, and the fact that he let Dak go for so long on his rookie contract, never re-upped, because that's where you get your deal when you re-sign a player before his rookie deal is up. That's where you make up your biggest amount of money as far as your discount. So as far as I'm concerned, Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys got their discount a few years ago because they kept Dak Prescott under his rookie contract, which he hardly made any money at all. So now you get to restructure the deal where Dak is saying, hey, man, you guys got your discount when I was on my rookie deal. I want close to 40 million, if not 40. And then I don't want to do 5 years because, by the time the 5 years is up, there's going to be a new deal in place, a new TV deal, which is going to be more money in a pot, which means he's going to be severely underpaid in 5 years.
Right.
So the only way they can get out of this and save some money on their cap and be able to build their team, which is really aging, is a sign and trade. It makes a lot of sense. It really does.
Let me throw this out there. Leaving color out of it, talent fig, leaving color out of it. Why did not this deal get done during his rookie contract year when he was being considered an all-star MVP consideration for those 3 or 4 years? Because, a rookie contract's 4 years. Might be 5, but I'm sure it's definitely 4 years. You know what I mean? Look what they did with the QB out of Kansas City. Look what they did with Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Just go down the list of QBs, Russell Wilson, all these dudes, all-star MVPs. Why does not Dallas? Again, I don't want to harp on the color because we all know, like, that's the easy out. The easy out is because it's color. But
well, I mean, if you don't want to harp on the color, you might well jump to the next question because it's the elephant in the room. But I will say this: without color, I would say straight up and down, it's Dallas, and I say that meaning I think Jerry Jones takes a lot of credit for how bad someone wants to play for him. And I think depending on how bad I think you want to play for me is going to factor in how I drag it out or not. You got some players that don't care where they are. They just want their money. They just want their Skrilla. And those people are always going to be the better off when it comes to deal making and breaking because they don't care where they play. So you don't have that leverage. But those people that for the lifetime of them in sports, I always wanted to play for the Dallas Cowboys. I think that's how he looks at that.
I think I was just trying to get an excuse that Dallas could be saying to the public on why they would not have signed Dak Prescott during his rookie contract. That's all I was trying to get to because we all know elephant in the room fig is color. You know what I mean? Like this would have been done a long time ago.
The only way I would describe, the only other way, other than the fact that Dak Prescott is not a white man playing quarterback, is the rumor is out is that he didn't befriend Jerry Jones like some other guys. Like Dak was strictly business. But here's the thing: on the other hand, that's the way Jerry Jones treated him. You know what I mean? Keeping him on that rookie contract for so long. It doesn't make sense. At the end of the day, if you want something and you really believe that this is the thing and you have the money, you usually go and get it. You know what I mean? And that's something that was said yesterday. Say, look, this guy said, I wanted this woman to be my wife. I proposed to her. I gave her a ring. The guy said, I had the money. I wanted this car. I went and I bought the car because I had the money and I really wanted the car. The same thing with a house. If this guy is your franchise quarterback and you really want him, then you go pay him. And you don't make him wait. And that didn't happen with Dak. So at the end of the day, if you want to boil it down, it could be two things. Race, 1 or 2, the Dallas Cowboys just don't believe in Dak Prescott.
All right, we got to wrap this up. We got to get ready to roll out. Tell everybody out there how they can follow you, bro.
That's it.
Hey, follow your boy on social media, Twitter at It's Just Comedy, Facebook, King Talent Harris, and on Instagram, Talent the Comedian. And you see me every day doing my thing. I'll be on at 6 o'clock today talking some ish.
There you go, Fig.
Yeah, man, you know it's right there at Comedian Fig, all social media platforms. And ladies and gentlemen, I do this every day. The Box Seats, Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. This is the best damn sports show on TV.
All right, this is the show. Like he says, the Box Seats is on the Humor Mill channel. We got to roll out and do what we got to do. It's download the app, tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow.